going on, family? How are you? 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 Peace, love, and blessings to you. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. If you're tuning in here live, welcome. Let me know down in the chat if you're here. We'll get started today, especially for those that are re-listening to this, rewatching. If you're more than welcome to skip ahead. I give a little bit of a buffer time just to let people kind of trickle in. But I do not want to waste your time. Don't want to waste my time. If you're here on time, you're going to get the value live, all right? And your live questions also answered. So if you're ever wondering what's the value of coming in here live, it's you get to ask in the chat, right? You get to ask in the chat, and I get to answer your question live. You get to take notes, right? It's great, but sometimes, I've been on live streams before. I'm like, man, it's a 45-minute, hour live stream. I don't know where to put it to, right? To get what I need, right? That's why you come in here and spend the time that you need to get the value that you need. And just to be honest with you, like, I don't got to be here. Let's be frank. I don't got to be here. Okay. Right. I do this out of the loving of my heart because I do believe that, you know, this year and the past couple of years, like people have been longing for value and longing for, you know, paid and free. And that's okay because there's a trust recession, right? Like, hey, let me listen to this person a little bit. Let me see where their heart is. Let me see, them go through the ups and downs in between so they know that they're a real person and they really, truly do care. So, yeah, that's why I do it. Right. So, I think it's even more beneficial that I don't have to be patient on these free live streams. Okay. But I'm going to give it everything that I got. All right. So, really quick agenda for those that are, and if the music's too loud in the back, please let me know that as well. Trying to get a little bit better about not letting that overshadow anything, but I do like the vibes in the back. So let me know if it's good for you. All right. Today we're going to be chatting about, first, I always read off and get us started off properly. So I'll be reading off a couple of my readings, just quick devotionals, the pivot year, daily stoic, a couple of things like that. It is Sunday, so we have MLK Day tomorrow. We do not have the market open tomorrow. I'll give a little bit more clarity on that as well if you're watching this at the time of this recording on January 19th, 2025. So take the day off tomorrow, whether you're working or you're not working, or you are, happy or sad or whatever the outcome is for you. Tomorrow is the inauguration as well. So it's going to be very interesting to watch. We also have the TikTok ban that is gone and come back, and we had about 12 hours of productivity for people. Now, be frank with you, I'm not a TikTok person. I never was. I tried it. I just put my content over from Instagram Reels over to TikTok and just like duplicated it. And yeah, I did see the virality, a little bit more reach, things of that nature. And maybe that was my fault for not jumping on how I should have. But I'm like, man, I just can't get with it. I'm sorry. I just couldn't do it. So it didn't matter one way or the other for me. And it seems like it's not just the creators that were upset. It was like the people that liked watching the funny videos or liked the entertainment, or maybe because Instagram changed, right? And whatever your feeling is about Mark Zuckerberg and Meta and things of that nature. But I do agree that Instagram reach, it used to feel like you could just hang out with your friends, or follow someone you really wanted to be entertained by, or actually see their content, right? So I get it. I get it wholeheartedly. But we had about 12 hours of productivity where people were like, okay, well, I don't have much scrolling to do. Now they're back on. All right. So I don't know. I got my old soul coming out like, man, just break everyone down to bare bones and see who survives. Let's get back to real business, real life, real conversations, in-person coffee meetups, actually calling people on the phone. I'm like, man, it is what it is. But to all those creators out there or people that, there are people that have been healed from TikTok as well. Let's be real. Like there have been recipes and cooking stuff, and you've saved your relationships and tips and tricks, and you've gotten free therapy on there. I don't know what's happening on there, but it is beneficial to some folks. So just want to say that. We also have the meme coins. We have the Trump meme coin, the Elon meme coin. We got the Melania meme coin. We got Bitcoin back above 100. Then it went to 106, and now it's back to 101. I'm like, yo, this volatility is wild. This is stuff we've never seen in our lifetime before. No one, right? We've got presidents that now have coins, and people are making thousands and millions of dollars, right? And some are happy and excited, and it's like, man, this man's putting money back in my pocket already. And some people are like, this ain't sitting right with me, right? So we're not here to debate whether it's right, wrong, indifferent. That is your opinion. That is your your prerogative of whatever you feel, right? But it's just you got to be aware. You got to be aware. I mean, in 24 hours, from Friday to Sunday at the time of this live stream right now, you're talking about 1,000 to 1,500% on your money. Right now, yes, it's volatile. Yes, people lost money. When someone's winning, someone lost, right? I get it. But just the opportunity for folks to even fathom that, right, is why I believe there's a push for something different. Because if money can be made digitally like that, and there's a new way of doing it, instead of saying, hey, I can, go out here and have to bust my butt for this job and whatnot, and people start thinking with their minds about the opportunity of exchange back and forth, whatever that exchange is, right? It's interesting, right? It took you 4 sentences to get a new follower. Man, I appreciate you. Crazy stuff. Appreciate you, Vax. Appreciate you. That's so awesome. Maybe I resonate with you in some type of way. So I appreciate you for coming on. Awesome. Well, I don't want to belabor the point. That's my little 5-minute spiel to let people kind of trickle in here. My name is Dr. B, for those that don't know, okay? If you follow my channel or come from other videos on my channel, or the algorithm pushed you here, awesome, right? I live currently in Vegas, was in Dallas. So if you're ever through Vegas, want to link up for a coffee, whatnot, we are going to be planning our meetup here in Vegas pretty soon, where it's going to be Leverage University members. So just make sure you tap those links down below. If you have questions, maybe I'll do a little special. I do usually do it on my live streams for about 24 hours. Just a special code for anyone joining the live stream exactly if you're wanting to tap in a little bit further inside of our Discord. Okay, I am a life and a business coach first, and then also the trading skill set is tacked onto this. So yeah, if you're looking at entrepreneurship, wanting to develop as a man or a woman, or just holistically from your mindset, your psychology, and then translate that into this trading skill set or understand the economy, tap in. All right. We'd love to have you. Okay, let's jump into it really quick. And the first thing I do on my live streams, as always, we got to get our minds right. So I just start off with a quick 1-minute reading from one of my readings here, which is the Daily Stoic, the Pivot Year. And then I've got more of a devotional there. So I'll just read one today off of the Daily Stoic. Let's actually read that off of Daily Stoic. January 19th, and we'll jump into the economy. All right, January 19th, jump into the economy. All right, January 19th. Oh, my goodness. Wherever you go, there your choice is the title. Wherever you go, there your choice is. A podium and a prison is each place, one high and the other low. But in either place, your freedom of choice can be maintained if you so wish. By Epictetus. Epictetus. The Stoics all held vastly different stations in life. Some were rich. Some were born in the bottom of Rome's rigid hierarchy. Some had it easy and others had it unimaginably hard. This is true for us as well. We all come from philosophy of different backgrounds. Everyone on this live stream is coming from a little bit of wealth. Some are coming from, hey, I got it from the mud. Some people are coming from, man, I don't know anything. I didn't have this in my family. I'm just trying to be that chain breaker in my family. Or you are that person that has, had the gift of knowledge in your family life or in your friend group or circle, or whether you've invested into your knowledge through mentors or formal schooling. However you came in here, everyone is coming from different backgrounds. But in all circumstances, adversity or advantage, we really have just one thing we need to do. Focus on what is in our control as opposed to what is not. Right now, we might be laid low with struggles, whereas just a few years ago, we might have been lived high on the hog. In just a few days, we might be doing so well that success is actually a burden. How many of y'all have been there where everything, whether you're a believer in the universe, God, spirituality, doesn't really matter. There's something outside of your own being today that you're like, man, the blessings just keep coming in. I'm losing weight. My skin's clearing up. I'm feeling good. I got a little money in my pocket. Man, my relationship's going fine. Man, my friendships are good. I'm about to go on this vacation. It's about to get warm outside. Like everything is just stacking up in your way, right? To where it's almost like, yo, this is something about to happen. Okay, this is too good to be true. Something's about to happen. We have mountaintops in seasons, and we also have valley lows in seasons. But what this is saying is that wherever you go, your choice still remains the same, how you view that experience. In summary, ultimately, this is clarity. Whoever we are, wherever we are, what matters is our choices. What are they? Question mark. How will we evaluate them? Question mark. How will we make the most of them? Question mark. Those are the questions life asks us regardless of our station, and how will we respond? This is an emotional time for folks. Emotional time because people want their way, right? People want their way. Man, don't take away TikTok. You're taking away my rights. And, this is freedom of speech. And, man, this is the government and blah, 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 blah. People just want their way, right? We're living in different times where the freedom of speech idea is becoming more and more heightened, I should say. I can say whatever I want to say. You don't control me. You don't do, and no one does technically, but there's still morals and values in the way to move in life. So it's very interesting that there's a lot of opinionated folks out there of what is right and what is wrong. And all I'm here to say to get us started with this live stream is that focus on what you can control, and also focus on these questions at the end of this. How will I take advantage of this new regime, right? Whether I like it or not. How will I take advantage of what is coming for me when I think everything's against me? How will I take advantage if I don't have a dollar to my name to invest, but I want to start getting investing? Right? It's one or the other. Either you're not going to do it or you're going to do it. Either way, the inevitable is going to happen. So you want and desire to have an investing mindset and a trading mindset, and you want to learn this skill set, or you want to develop a business, or you want to put more money in your pocket at your career. Doesn't really matter. All right. The inevitable is going to happen. So you're either going to be unhappily at the place you are right now, or you're going to change that situation and still go through a struggle. How many of us have heard that, cliche term, choose your hard? One way or the other. Because you can have all the money and the riches in the world, and you could be absolutely miserable in your love life. You could be absolutely miserable in your career. You could be absolutely miserable just the way your life is panning out. Because no amount of money will alleviate the pain of what you have to wake up to each day. Second, you could have no money or a little bit of money, just an opportunity, a little bit of, man, I'm so grateful to be in this group. I'm so grateful to be on this live stream right now. I'm so grateful I'm getting knowledge right now, right? There's blessings that are pouring into me that are not yet financial, but those financial blessings are coming because I feel like I'm gaining momentum. So you wake up every day, right? That's what I kind of feel with some of these kids. They don't have responsibility. I'm saying kids, meaning, this new generation. It's not even Generation Z. It's not Gen Zs. It's like Alpha or something. I don't know. These teenagers, right? They have no responsibilities necessarily. And yes, they have their own qualms, just like all of our generations. And if I'm talking to any of y'all's kids or whatnot, please excuse me. But you know what I'm talking about. It's like, there's so much opportunity that has opened up their eyes and our eyes as well, of like, there was a kid that just made $10,000 and he had $1 just because he believed that this is the new wave of operating currency. So I'm going to invest and put into a meme coin for $2 or $3 or whatever I had in my piggy bank. Hey, mom, hey, dad, I made 10,000. It's like, what? On what? Oh, just playing this video game. Oh, just like my followers pay me with tips. It's the expansion of the mind that allows us to see the opportunities instead of woe is me. Why is everything changing? So I'm here to talk about that a little bit, and then let's jump into it. I'm gonna share my screen. Y'all good? Can I get a one in the chat? We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. Can I get a one in the chat really quick? Crazy stuff. Jordan, Max, Shalith. If anybody else is on here, you're more than welcome. Just put a one. We're ready to go. I'm ready to share my screen, give some value. I'm gonna share the SPY, QQQ, IWM, our traditional indices in the stock market, Apple, Tesla, what that might do, NVIDIA, the normal, and then we're going to talk about some of these meme coins and some of this crypto because it's very speculative, right? Very, very speculative right now, meaning we could have an election pop or we could have a little bit of a pop drop, right? So what I'm doing, I've got a little position. I've still got my original crypto positions, XRP, things of that nature. But yeah, we'll see. We shall see. All right, let me share the screen here and let's jump into it. All right. So the first thing is I want to share a little bit of data. Let's see if this loads here. It should. A little bit of data. All right. So I think the first question that everyone has is what is the stock market going to do on inauguration day? Right? What's the historical context? So this is from Reuters, okay? And the president that was coming into office, it shows the S&P 500 change, the Nasdaq change, and the Dow Jones change. So Biden had one of the highest pops, obviously coming off that 2020 situation, and some may speculatively say that hey, that was actually Trump's market that he was coming into. Yeah, that could be true, right? It typically happens that the new president is getting the crumbs of the previous regime. In office, very similar to how Barack kind of came into that 09 situation, right? So these are the responses. And one thing I was looking at, I wasn't trying to read too much into this necessarily. I was looking at the years and the historical context that surrounded those years. So I've talked about before those black swan events that came in when the market was up in the 80s for about 4 to 6 years straight. And then in late 80s, it started to, and we had that Black Monday crash event. Okay. So you look at here right around the Reagan era, and then you come into Bush and we're down, right? Clinton era, mid 90s was pretty good for the markets. And then we came into 2001, obviously 9/11. We moved into the crash here of the Bush regime right into Obama. And there's that. And now we're coming into almost since the last kind of like downward presidential inauguration. Barack, decent. Trump, first term, decent. Biden, decent. So I'm not here to conspiracy and things of that nature, right? But every about 3 to 4 terms, you kind of have a little cool off, okay? The market can't go up forever. So I'm suspecting this year, and here's y'all can let me know down in the comments what you think. If you know, you know. But typically the first week, okay, and let me go to my charts here. The first week, and we're going to check out crypto because it is moving already. Okay. SPY, the first week of SPY in January was technically red. Okay. Technically red. Now I'm bullish right now because I think this is a completely different scenario until it tells us otherwise. But this first week was red. When the first week in the stock market for January is red, and even if the month finishes off red, the year is typically an average year for the markets in general, right? We're having a transfer of portfolios. We're having a transfer of wealth and money. We're having moving, shifting portfolios right now. And we've got the market still being held up by really the Magnificent Seven, if we think about it. So it's going to be an interesting year. That's all I got to say. It's going to be an interesting year. But all we're here to say is what is going to be the response from the inauguration? Because here was the response from the election. Okay. We're pushing down right into the election. And then we popped a little bit of profit taking right after the election towards the end of the week. And then we continue to run a little bit higher, but then we filled that election kind of gap right back down to where we started. Okay. So does this inauguration push us back to all-time highs, new all-time highs if we break trend this week? And then for whatever reason, we continue into earnings of tech stocks that are coming up at the end of this month and into February. And whatever happens with tech stocks is going to be very, very key going into February. All right. Now, if you're taking notes on here, right, if you don't know this, I'll go to the Fear and Greed Index next. That the stock market in March, typically seasonality wise, heading into the tax season, the filing of the taxes officially, it typically is a little bit more bearish or there's profit taking, right? So the first quarter right? Could be an up quarter. We could have, depending on the earnings of a lot of these tech stocks, right? So I just want to show you this timeline of the fear and greed index, right? Last year, you can see we're sitting in greed coming into the year. We weren't sitting in fear, right? So we're sitting in greed because typically a election year is more bullish in nature, okay? So we have this run here. You can see right into February, greed, 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 greed. We come into March and we start getting some profit taking coming into that April timeframe, right? So March and April are typically, depending on the season and how the first month or so goes, can typically continue down further, okay? So my thesis is saying roughly the same thing this time. Look at where we are. We're in a completely different scenario here coming into this year. We're sitting in fear, which in fear, we buy up the dip, right? So my thesis is that we could pop on the election, or keep saying inauguration, and then there's still a little speculativeness of like what his first couple of orders are going to be. What are his first couple of executive orders? So I'm not here to get into the politics and what they are. If you know what they are, you're more than welcome to put them down below. Hey, he's going to do this. And hey, I already heard this. Like, that's fine, right? We're not here about that. I'm just looking at how the response is going to be. So I'm just keeping it very simple. If we're in fear, the dip's going to typically get bought up and we could run higher back into this greed stage. When we get back into greed, if I'm in greed heading into February and March, I should expect some profit taking coming into that April timeframe and potentially into the summer and going into the fall time. All right. Some of y'all have heard this, some of y'all are new. Okay. So don't take too much, of a grain of salt here. Just do your own due diligence. My recessionary plan is for 2026, right? The second term of a new presidency is typically more bearish in nature, right? So my kind of plan is into 2026 for more of a heavy dip, right? This kind of can be a little iffy year, maybe just because Trump's coming in, people pump up the market and they keep pushing it in, right? But at a certain point, I'm paying attention to the big players. I'm paying attention to Warren Buffett's portfolio, which he's still sitting on very heavy cash, right? A lot of these billionaires, I'm not talking about millionaires, I'm talking about billionaires and hedge funds, they're still sitting on a lot of heavy cash. So I'm still listening to that personally. I'll still dollar cost average. You'll still get your 8 to 10% potentially on the markets this year. So buy SPY, buy VOO, buy QQQ, whatever you want to do there. But nothing's changing in that realm. I just think personally, after two almost 30% runs in the S&P and also the NASDAQ, come on now, we're going to have another one. We could, no one knows, but just historical context gives us a sentiment that this could be an average year, right? Because there's still tariffs. There's still speculation of, well, if inflation is cooling and it's not doing too much, does the Fed even need to cut any more rates? Right? Some of y'all have heard that, right? That the last Fed meeting, Fed Powell was talking about that he may not need to cut, or they may not need to cut as aggressively into 2025. That's why December was a little bit more bearish in nature, because there was profit taking off the table, like no more rate cuts. Like, that's uncertain. I don't know what that means. So let me just go ahead and take my profits now, right? After a great year. So just paying attention. Keep buying a dip, keep it simple. If you're new to investing, I don't want to confuse anyone. I don't want to make it complex, because that's why people don't invest in the stock market, because there's too many lines, it's too complex, there's too much speculation. It sounds risky. It's not risky if you just buy the dip every time we're in fear. Okay. If it drops more into fear and we drop deeper and we go into some type of deep pullback / crash, cool, buy that dip too. All right. And plan for that 2 to 4 to 5 to 10 year plus hold of whatever you're buying. Right. I was on a one-on-one call. Let me take a pause right there really quick and see if there's anything in the chat. Am I on the right path, everybody? On the right path? Are we on the right path? What's your thoughts on the new Trump coin madness? Junior, I see you. Beautiful. I'm going to answer that question as well. So let me just get to it since we're at the beginning, because I've been on live streams before and you're like, yo, get to the point, bro. Get to the point. Even though some of y'all like, the way I run my live streams. I understand there's folks on here that just want to get straight to the value. All right. So I'm gonna pull it straight up, and then we'll get back to just the normal wave. Okay. So here's our chart on the coin market cap. I'm gonna actually pull up a graph here, and let's see if I can blow this up. Usually I can. Let's go to the last 7 days, last month, and I may want to pull it up on Trading View. So my initial thoughts while I'm pulling this up are, number one, it's very volatile, and any dip you can take a chance on it, right? It's a risk because the structure and the technicals, as I'm more of a technical trader and investor, the technicals are going to be out of the water, right? So I would say just trade with caution. If you don't care about $100, put $100 into it, right? If you don't care about $10,000, put $10,000 into it, right? Whatever you think, that's fine. Take your profits, keep trimming, hold a little bit of runners. So I'll explain what that looks like in a second if you're not too familiar with that terminology. But let me see. I was trying to find which one it is. If y'all could put in the chat, if y'all know which one it is. I was trying to find exactly. It's on Solana. So I'm like, I couldn't find it actually on the chart. Official chart. Let me type that in and see if it does it. I don't think any of these are it, but yeah, I'll use this one because I know that it ran to about $80 and pulled back to 50. All right. So if I just use technicals, all right, let's use technicals. If this is following technicals, this is another bull flag forming. Okay. So if I draw the technicals here from this Trump coin right there, it pulled right back to where it broke out before. So you see that $35 level where people took their first profits, right? It formed a nice bull flag there. Okay. Now my top level for it, I think personally it can go to 100. I think that's where people are holding it for. This is another retest. So if you took it from right where it is right now, $50 up to 100, that'd be 100% on your money. You get my drift? So with these meme coins, personally, I just look at 50 to 100%. Okay. If it's at 10 cents and it runs to 20 cents, that's 100% on your money. Right. So I just look at the double up or the 50% run, and whatever I put in there, cool. I made 50% of my money. I made 100%. And then you just hold a little bit just in case something goes crazy. Right. But I'm not in here trying to go for broke on something that you don't understand. It's just been created out of thin air. Right. I know it has his name on it, but if I'm following technicals, there's a support right there. You see it starting to form a little bit of a bull flag around 50. Okay. If you don't know where to purchase it, you can purchase it on Phantom. Some people have been purchasing on Moonshot and some others. So let me know if you've purchased this or where you have purchased it just to help everybody out. But this looks like another bull flag right here. Another big one. Okay. So you see that? And I would be looking for something like this. So that's why I highly recommend technicals. And I'll be looking at a run like that. Okay. You see how that would play out? Okay. So as long as it holds up around $40, right, the technicals are following suit, and it could run. I'm on a 4-hour chart. Let me run to a 1-hour chart, and it's going to at least retest. If it breaks back above this 53 mark, it'll at least retest 73. Okay. So you can take it from 50 to 70, take some profits, and then hold some runners for 100 if you want to. Okay. Does that make sense for everybody? Does that help? Can I get a 5 in the chat? 5 in the chat, 5 in the chat. That helps. Yeah, he could. I got 10 at 50 and just in case. Yep, I'm curious about that too. Yeah. So we're right on the same page. I love everybody that's jumping on my live stream. Very cordial. Appreciate y'all's respect. And hopefully you're seeing what I'm seeing, right? It seems like it. We're on the same page, right? No BS, no speculation. It's just like, hey, this is another coin. It can pump on just him. And then we have the technicals that we just follow. All right, cool. So that's the Trump meme. I don't even think Melania is up here yet, but that was wild. This is why I follow technicals, because if everyone starts chasing and they weren't following technicals, this is a what we call a crown reversal. Okay, crown reversal, lower high. If you're familiar with this, let me know in the chat. But when I see a nice push up, okay, and then a pullback and then a lower high forms, you're typically going to get a massive retracement. So imagine everybody buying at $73, like, man, just buy, 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 buy. And they get smashed back down. They're like, I lost money. It's like, exactly. Right. So the technicals, they never fail. Sometimes they get broken just because it's a speculative coin, but they're following technicals right now. All right. Let's go to XRP. A lot of people have questions on XRP, and I know I'm skipping straight to crypto because y'all saw the y'all saw the thumbnail. Okay. So XRP, same thing. If you've been following my channel for a minute, I said take it to $3 and $3.50. Okay. We take it from level to level. It's not going to go straight to that $5 mark and $10 mark and all these levels that people are talking to based off of technicals. Okay. It is forming nicely a stair-stepping move. Look at this. XRP is forming a nice stair-stepping move. Nice bull flag there. Consolidation right at $1. Another at 150. Takes a big move up to 2. Consolidates again right here. Forms a nice consolidation bull flag right there. Okay. A nice higher low that breaks out of it. And now it's coming back to retest this level right here. You see why it stopped right there for my technical people? You know, if you're new, you're starting to learn something. It's called a break and a retest. Okay. We break a high, right, above this $2.89 right here. Okay. This level right here. It breaks above it. People take their profits. It comes back to retest that level. Okay. So that's why it pulled back and you see buyers stepping right in where this wick is, right at about 280, because that was the previous high. Okay. So it needs to hold up around 280 and then reclaim 3, and then we can take it to 4. Okay. So it is just simply following technicals right now. I may want to draw a trend line just slightly right here, just to make sure that it stays along that trend line, because if that trend breaks for any point, maybe whatever reason they want to drive it down lower, right, like that, we could come back to retest these lower ends of the levels, which would be around 150. Okay. It could cut it in half and come right back to this level right here. Okay. You see that? But it's still a higher low, but that trend needs to hold. Okay. It is run tremendously already. Okay. And it still could pump based off of, you know, Trump's new cabinet and Gary Gensler, the SEC chairman, kind of stepping down. Like everything is spanning into very bullish nature, right? Just make sure you are properly entering with the amount of money that you are comfortable seeing go up and down. Everybody cool with that? Right? So a lot of money can be made, but just make sure that you're entering, not financial advice, just based off of, okay, it drops a little bit lower. Let me put a little bit more in. Drops a little bit lower. Let me put a little bit more in. Let me not chase while everyone's talking about it. Let me just get a little in if I'm late to the party. Right? Just like going to the party at night, going to the club at night. Right? I go to the club at night. I'm not trying to buy 5 drinks at 1 in the morning. I may drive 1 drink and then we're headed to the next party. Then I'll buy 4 at the next party. You get my drift? So just make sure your dollar cost averaging if you feel like you're chasing it. Okay. Everybody in here knows what I'm talking about. You've gotten caught. We've all done it. Man, let me just jump in. Let me jump in. And then you jump in and it pulls back. You're like, dang, I could have got it cheaper. Right? So if you know, you know. The meme coin was his name with $1 in front of it. Exactly. 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 So, yeah, I'd love to hear any stories. If y'all got some, let me know. Know your risk level acceptance. Exactly, Michael. Speaking the same language, man. Appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. All right, let's keep it rolling. And if y'all have any questions, I'll be checking the chat. But there are the top two kind of currencies or coins. I know everyone's focused on Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin personally very stable right now. It's always been very stable. I'll give my levels on Bitcoin personally. And if you are a crypto guru and you know exactly where it's going, I follow technicals and my levels have been panning out to the T thus far. Okay, and that's all I'm following personally. Right, I can't control what news and data drives it, but Bitcoin is getting some profit taking right now pretty heavily around 106, and it's very interesting that that is happening. And there may be some news and data that's going on in the marketplace right now. I haven't checked. Y'all let me know if y'all are reading it into anything. But right when everyone started dumping that, the Trump meme coin around 80, right back down to 50, it's very interesting that also Bitcoin dropped from 106 back down to 100 very quickly. Okay. So that's an interesting tale. I mean, this right here, this consolidation, it could go either way. You don't want to bet against necessarily crypto leading into this, but is this a trap, right? Because based off technicals, what I've got personally is I don't care what you believe or that's never coming back to that level. You can let me know if you do see it. I'm personally, it never retested these highs right here. Okay, 73 to 75,000, right? Pulling back to those levels at some point, very similar to this last double top area we had here, this last run we had here, right? It pulled back kind of to retest these levels. Now, this is drastic, in my opinion. We've got Trump coming into office, a little bit different scenario than back in 2021 with Biden coming in, things of that nature. But we look back to 2017 on Bitcoin, right? We just don't have as much data, as many regulations that he's trying to put into place that will allow crypto to kind of flourish. So I think that we should treat this just completely different. There may not be that massive pullback or quote unquote rug pull that people may call it, as we have seen before. But I do believe there's going to be some type of black swan event. I don't know what it is. I don't know where it's coming from. Some of y'all may have speculations, but same thing here in 2017, roughly. Okay, 2017. This is his pump, right? His first first year coming in, right? There's that pump right there of Bitcoin, right? Right when he came in, roughly, what was that? January 2017, right around here. Okay, came into office, started pumping for the whole year. Okay, whole year 2017. Now, going into 2018, we started to have that massive pullback. Okay, 2018. And then we ramped back up in 2019. Okay, and then here's that black swan 2020. So do you see how my thesis is kind of coming into play to where I'm still going to dollar cost average? I've still got some of my original positions, but at some point you're going to get, maybe we run up to 120, right? Overnight this week, or just like the election, something like that. Like that's my mark. I've got about 120 in the short term. Okay. If we bump up to 120 and we make a measured move up to 120 like this from the last breakout, if I make a measured move right there up to 120, cool. That's fine. That's kind of my height of a decent profit take. Okay. So if we pump up to there, I'm cool, but I'm still looking for this, right? And it's not going to happen in one fell swoop candle like that, but I'm still looking for a retest somewhere around this 70,000, 80,000 level, but it's got to break below 91. As long as you're above 91,000, it's not going anywhere. But my concern is the more it struggles around 100, okay? The more that it struggles kind of around 100, where there's big profit taking kind of coming in, like right here, we dropped 6,000 and we touched below 100. So maybe they're driving the price down to drive it back up tomorrow and drive it up $20,000. Who knows? Okay. But when you have those types of candles like that, yeah, y'all let me know down below in the comments what you think. But I'm still following technicals, still dollar cost averaging, still holding some original positions, but just watching very carefully what it's doing up in this range. And then as long as it holds up 91,000, I've got my alerts on all of my portfolios and brokerages of, hey, is Bitcoin below? Now I want to kind of put 89,000, right? Just to make sure. Is Bitcoin below 90? Is it below 89? Okay. And I've also got an alert above 110. Okay. Because I know either of those levels, if they break, it's going to start moving very aggressively in that direction. If it moves below 88, it's going to start moving very aggressively on the downside. If it moves above 110, it's going to start moving right to 120. Right in between this, dollar cost average, trade it, pick it up, whatever you want to do. Hold. All right. We good? Let me check the chat. Nice dump. Exactly. Would that drop potentially hit XRP massively? Yeah. It would. I don't think there's going to be a rotation. Like, just say Bitcoin pulls back, right? I don't think personally there's going to be a rotation of, oh, Bitcoin's pulling back, so XRP's ripping, right? That's not really how crypto works personally. It's usually there's a slight differential, right? As some of us know that have been, back in 2016, 17, and some people even realize, back in the 08, 09 days, back in when Bitcoin was below $1,000. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be a rotation of where XRP is going up and shooting to the moon and then Bitcoin's pulling back, right? So still hold your original position. So here's my plan, right? I don't like to fear monger. I don't fear monger in here. For those of you that heard me the first time, it's like, man, this dude doesn't think this going up. He keeps talking about going down, right? Because if you're new to this, no one wants to see it go down. But if you're true to this, you're like, bring it back. I'll buy some more. Get my drift? So actually, a lot of investors want it to come back. Like, they want it to tank so they can pick up more. But new investors or new people that have run, XRP from $1 or $2 to $3, and they're like, man, I don't want it to come back again. Like, what if it doesn't go back? Right. So you got to have your game plan in place of what type of investor you want to be. Look at Bitcoin below 100 again, right? As we speak. So that's my thing, is you got to have a game plan of what type of investor you are. And that's okay. Some people take their profits and then re-enter, right? Because they just feel more comfortable with that. Some people are like, I'm cool being down 50%. I'll buy more. Right? Which one are you going to be? And no one can tell you which one that is. Right? So that's what I'm here, especially on public platforms. I can tell my private clients and one-on-one clients and things, if I know your situation. But on public platforms, I don't give any financial advice. I don't tell people exactly where to buy. I give you levels and where I think personally it's going based off technicals and what may happen, just to make sure you have a risk tolerance in place. We good? Does that help everybody? Does that help? So pay attention to 91,000, pay attention to 110. Okay. And then just right in the middle, right around that 100, what it does. Okay. Let's see here. Dogecoin pulling back pretty heavy as well. Interesting. Very interesting. Wow. Solana just pulled. God dang. Yo. I gotta check on what is XRP doing? This is happening live right here. It's still holding very well, right? Still holding structure. It's just, that's pretty aggressive, in my opinion. Let's go to a couple other ones. Put in the chat if you want me to cover anything or you have any specific questions. We'll keep rolling here. Let me go to Pepe, see what it's doing. Pulling back pretty heavy as well. Just pulled back from roughly around 4 zeros and 3 to around, about 50%. Now it's at 4 zeros and 1 5. So it's pulled back about 50%. So might be some decent pickup opportunities, to be honest with you. Might be some decent pickup opportunities on some of these. Let me see what Doge is doing again over here. What's up, man? Potentially another bull flag for me on Doge here. You can see here that it's pulled up to 50 cent from this last breakout right around 22. And it's pulling back again, still holding higher lows, right? So still holding this trend line here. If it breaks a little bit lower on that trend, we could come back to that 0.25, but I like Doge anywhere around 0.20 to 0.25 to pick up. If you want to pick it up around 0.3, right? Again, I am looking at these meme coins or these coins are very volatile. It's just 50% of my money and 100% of my money. If it goes crazier, that's cool. So all I'm looking at just to make sure that I'm keeping my risk in place is from 0.30 to 0.6. That's 100%. 0.25 back to 0.5. That's 100%. So if you put $100 in and you get in the right entry and it goes up to your point, cool, you made $100. Right? That's how to personally trade these meme coins, in my opinion. I know some others are a lot more advanced and they have a lot more risk tolerance. And I have a pretty high risk tolerance, but I like to personally just trade. If it goes crazy, cool. I got lucky, but at least I know that I followed a plan versus thinking, oh man, this could go stupid all the way up to $10 on Dogecoin. Like, yeah, it could. That's why you have runners, right? Leave your house money in and let it go. Because if you lose the house money, you're like, oh, okay, cool. I already locked in profits. All right. Everybody cool with that? Let me check chat. We're good. Yep. Do you think Bonk? Yeah. One of my favorites there on the Solana blockchain. Yep. And I'll show everybody too, like transparently, like just because I see a lot of new people. So welcome. Appreciate y'all so much. If you came from one of the videos or you just have on the alerts. Okay. So here's our Discord. I have my entrepreneurial stuff, my business owners, a lot of other skill sets in here from sales training, NLP, all this kind of stuff, how to develop an e-commerce store, stuff like that. But here's our trading floor and our crypto hub, which a lot of y'all are here for. So I just want to show you this, that in the altcoin section, right, we've been giving levels on Bonk and a lot of these others for a while. Let me go into my threads and go back into Bonk. And I'll give new levels on it. Okay, so you see here that I gave Bonk buy zones around 4027, 4030. Okay, back to around about 55 and then 60. I'm just looking for 100%. And here's the chart when I charted it out right around to that 27. Big bull flag there. Now let's see where it is going now. Okay. So from that entry, it popped slightly from this 0.24 to 0.40. So you do the math on that, roughly around 70% on your money from 0.24, where you just saw that entry, to 0.40. Okay. So I don't think it's a bad buy up here, because if you look at this trend line here, it's still over a longer period of time for the last year, still forming higher lows. Okay, so that's why I look at the bigger picture. If you look at that, still forming higher lows. And if we do have a nice crypto run for the year of 2025, and then it kind of cools off in 2026, then yeah, I could see Bonk right back up to 6. And then some people are looking for this 3 zeros and a 1. Okay, so I don't think it's a bad idea to put something in there. I'm a big fan of Solana in general. So if you believe in that, if you like it, cool. I just gave the technicals on it. So my buy zones around 0.2, 4 zeros, 4 zeros and a 2. So right around 20, if you want to just call it that. And then if it pops down below that, that's cool too. All right. So that's really my buy zone, around 0.4 zeros and a 2. Okay. 4 zeros and a 2. Okay. 4 zeros and a 3, not too bad. Okay. 4 zeros and a 3, not too bad right there, but just let it fall a little bit lower, see if we can test those lower ends of the range, and we'll go from there. Okay. All right, let me check your stream still running smoothly here. I'm starting to feel a little bit of slow up. All right, I think we're good. Cool. May have too many things running here, so let me get off of this. Yeah, AJ. Yeah. People chase, man. People chase this weekend. Solana ran up to $300 or $295, and if you know, that's chasing. right? That's chasing. So the technicals, if you don't learn anything from my channel, please understand that I am about 80 to 85% technicals, and they never fail unless a news event comes in. But that news event is typically in response to where the technicals are, right? If it's at all-time highs, they'll put some news event, or somebody will come in and say, hey, big profit taking. Or if it's at all-time lows, right? Tyler, you got smacked today trading some of the crypto. Yeah, man. Yeah. Stay safe out there, brother. Stay safe. Stay safe. All right. Is everybody good on crypto? Did that help? A little bit different live stream today, but I think it's imperative that you're more than welcome to pick up a little bit of this dip tonight, and have a little bit of, as I like to just say, a strategic lotto into the inauguration. Just trade with safety. That's not financial advice, okay? But this dip, pretty nice here into the inauguration. If we do pump with Elon and whatever he says, he could say anything like crypto is back and we're gonna make America great again with crypto. And I don't know what if he says something crazy like that. I would not put it past him. So he's put a lot of money in some folks' pockets already. So I think folks are just picking up the dip because they're like, yo, what do I got to lose if this $10 I have can turn into, $500, something crazy. So make sure that you're having fun with it, but also make sure that you are trading safe. All right. Cool. All right. So there's my Trump levels, as well as XRP levels. I actually like the structure of the Trump personally. It's not too bad. I'd like it better below 40 again. If you can come back into the 20s or something like that, or even back below 30. Yeah, somewhere in the 20s. I think that'd be a great pickup. But anywhere around that $50 mark, if it follows the structure, I think it could be decent to pay attention to. But they could also dump it. But the craziest thing in history. I mean, look at this volume. Like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Some of y'all, like, the amount of supply and the market cap is ridiculous. In 3 days, we're living in different times, man. I just living in different times. Oh my gosh. Community sentiment, bullish, bearish, that is speculative. So it is what it is. I think just the first pump, I'm like, shoot, I may have missed it. I was at a dinner, like, are you kidding me? I showed it to Ashton, and I was like, look at this trunk. This thing is at $30 right now. I think it was at like 25 or 30. I was like, I'm out right now. I'm gonna have to move money around and buy it on a different exchange and blah blah blah. I'll just wait till I get back. Next thing you know, it's at 50, and then I go to sleep, it's at 70, and then I wake up, it's at 80, and I'm like, sometimes you just gotta chase, man. Sometimes you just gotta chase. All right, let's jump back into the markets. I'll give a game plan for this week. It's a short week. Remember, the markets aren't open tomorrow. I do believe the futures markets may open up early, just like last. Don't quote me on that. I've been taking this weekend off personally, just mentally. So y'all let me know down in the chat if you do trade futures. The futures market open. So let's jump into SPY, QQQ, IWM. I'll give some levels on that, and then we'll get up out of here. Okay. Put your questions down below. And also, really quick before y'all leave, if some of you are leaving already, if you are interested in joining Leverage University inside of our Discord, if you liked how it looked and organized and liked how I teach, things of that nature, we do live trading in there. Just shoot me a DM on Instagram, right? I'll send you a special code. The only reason I'm doing that is because personally, I could put a code up here and people rewatch it and they start clicking stuff and whatever. So if you are interested, you don't have to do it right away, but I'll put like a 24-hour code. Give you a little bit off of Leverage University to come inside of our Discord. All right. SPY. Okay. SPY. If you've watched other content creators, because I do watch other content creators as well, other thought leaders, everyone is concerned just slightly about this lower high still. Okay. So we are in a speculative place where we are in fear. Okay. We're in fear in the markets right now, right? You just saw me pull up fear and greed index. And SPY is sitting right on kind of this trend line here where we've kind of broken out of it just slightly, right? So as long as we hold up SPY 596, as long as that holds up, personally, we're going to try, in my opinion, to retest this 601. And if we break above 603, we're coming back up to all-time highs, probably 610. Okay. So pay attention to 596 this week. It'll be on Tuesday or whatever the market decides to do after hours, the futures market, while he's speaking in the inauguration. If it pumps and we're above 603, right? Personally, I think we're going to go back to the highs because we've broken trend and we're back above that level. You see this previous low right here around 601.50 where we rejected right here, 602. We had a lower high right here. We didn't even reach up to 600, dropped all the way back down, and we're kind of right back up in this area again. So these gray areas on my chart are gaps. Okay. So if you're familiar with gap fills, they gapped up overnight, and then right here, we had a little bit of a gap down. Okay. Gaps like to get filled. So that is why I'm saying personally that we could pump and then at some point, whether we go to all-time highs again and we just stay bullish, which we are, a lot of buyers have control right now, but do sellers step back in at some point and we fill these gaps right back down? It could be another month. It could be into the earnings season. Who knows? But everyone thought it was bullish right here. And going all the way back up? Nope, not right back down. Going all the way back up? Nope, created a new low. And do we do it again, right? And create a new low. Okay. And it would fill that little gap right there back down to 570. So my big lower end of the range was 570, and we did not reach to 570. We came to 575. So that is my big area of buying right there around 570 into 567. But again, we're back at all-time highs roughly. So we've got to pay attention to what it does this week, right? I know a lot of people are thinking the same thing roughly is we could pump and then right after dump, or we could dump and then pump. Either way, right? It's a Trump pump and dump. I don't know. So if you've never traded a Trump market, just know that it is very volatile. Okay. Very, very volatile. I have personally traded a Trump market back in 2017, 2018, 2019. So it is very, very volatile. A lot of anything he says, it'll move the market after hours, move the market before hours, move the market intraday. You could think it's going up, you're in calls, and then come down, you're in puts, and then you get chopped up, and it just goes back and forth. So size down if you're trading personally, unless you're comfortable and you like your level. If you are not yet trading, you want to learn, I'm not scaring anybody off. Please tap in. A lot of money can be made. Let's make this bread. A lot of money can be made in this market, as you're already seeing. Okay, so make sure you're not dismissing the skill set of trading and or investing. Okay, I personally want to buy the dip up a lot lower, so I'm just trading up here. I'm not really personally buying a lot of, more specifically, tech stocks at the highs. I'm still waiting on my big buy levels and dips. So that's just me personally. We got the futures market that's slightly down here, as you can see, after hours. So ES, NQ, YM, or the Dow Jones, and then we got RTY, which are the small cap futures. All of them are red at this point. So we do have some selling kind of coming in leading into the inauguration tomorrow. So more profit taking kind of coming in, a little bit of uncertainty, and then can we drop and then pop? All right, cool. Let me check the chat. We good? Just a sell-off. What caused this massive crash today? I was just holding from last week, and it definitely wasn't something I seen coming. Just a sell-off. Yeah, that's a great question, Tyler. That's a great question. When I'm answering these questions on these public platforms, I have two sentiments. I'll give you my honest opinion based on just technicals, right? Is that we're still at all-time highs, right? So if you ran the market up, which a lot of us, we have, retirement accounts, you have portfolios you've been holding for a while, you just don't touch. Some of you are new to investing and you're like, hey, like this is my really first time kind of tapping into some stocks and kind of jumping back in maybe, right? We're still at extreme all-time highs. So I'm not saying the market can't go higher, but when we're at all-time highs like this, I want to show you, Tyler, you may know, right? I don't know you personally, or if we do, let me know. Shoot me a DM, man. Here's the RSI, okay? The relative strength index on a monthly. on SPY. Okay. I want you to look the comparison of the chart right here, where the RSI is. So the RSI in 2018 was extremely high on a monthly in January, right? So I want you to look at this in 2018. The market, or the S&P, dropped right around here from 255 over the course of the year, 255 back to around 220. And then the course of the year dropped back down to 266, all the way back down to 215, right? So whenever the RSI is pretty high, especially on higher time frames, you can have those drastic kind of black swan events that come not just in the stock market, but also in crypto as well, right? So just think about the person that was buying up and buying up and buying up and buying up in 2022, and then buying a little bit more in 2023. And then we had a huge NVIDIA rip, right? From the 200s up to 1,000. And then they had the stock split. So if we're all trying to like grapple with like, man, why are these massive sell-offs happening? They're not, this is nothing, right? Like this type of like pullbacks, like this is just a Trump market. This is just, a lot of volatility, right? They can drop the market 5% in one day and 10% up the next day and back down. Like, so why I'm saying that I'm not surprised about these drops is because the RSI is, again, very high. Look at 2022. Look at where the RSI was back in 2021 when everyone was like, man, this is about to go crazy. 2020, 2021, 2022, we're about to have a massive year. The whole year of 2022 was a bear year. Does everyone see that? Look at the RSI. This is all 2022. Okay. So when you hear people like maybe myself, which for the last year or so, I've been like, hey, I'm still holding my positions. Hey, I'm still buying. Hey, I'm still trading, but I'm not loading the boat yet. Right. When you hear people saying that, this is the reason why, is because it's like, oh man, stop fear mongering. And why everyone says, oh yeah, this is the year going to be a recession. Well, yeah, if you've seen Billions, or if you've seen what is it, the show with the 2008 crash with Michael Saylor, when he was like leading up like 2005 and 2006, like, hey, this housing market thing just ain't sitting right. Right? These consumer prices just aren't sitting right. Hey, the credit card debt that people are in is just not sitting right. Who's buying a house? Right? I'm not saying that you aren't. I'm just saying like property taxes. Like the property taxes or bill is someone's salary for the year for a lot of folks. So when all this stuff is culminating, right, I will trade the market where it is today, tomorrow, next week, this quarter. But as far as like out and buying things, like I will dollar cost average, but I'm taking my profits, dollar cost average, take my profits, trim some off the table, right? I'm kind of in and out, in and out. I'm more cash than I am in the markets personally. That's just me personally. But that is the reason why, is because there's this massive RSI that's all the way up here on a monthly we were very extremely bullish coming into 2021, right? Again, Biden's first term. Remember, 2021, first term, very, very bullish. And then the second year of his term, we start getting a little bit bearish here and we start cooling off this RSI. Well, what says this can't, the history books repeat themselves. So if it's not war this year, if it's not some kind of drastic Elon drama, if it's there's no more rate cuts this year, I don't know what it's going to be, right? This RSI up here will cool off very drastically. And that's why I'm saying that the market can run up a little bit higher, right? Do you see this bullish hammer candle right here? This is a bullish candle. So I'm not saying the market can't run up higher. Does everyone see that? I'm not saying that it can't run up higher. Trade it, invest, buy up, but just be ready that this is nothing. These pullbacks, this is nothing yet. Okay. And it may take another year for it to happen, but when it does happen, that is where that wealth gap is going to be created, when you start seeing a whole year, a whole bearish year, something like that. Because I follow the technicals, and this is a break and a retest. Look at this. Break above this level, big push to 315, big pullback. That's that 2020 drastic drop. It pulled back, retested that level. There's the big break right there. New breakout, pullback. Here's another big breakout. And we never retested this level right here, which is around 475 to 500. Okay. So that's all I'm saying. It may be another couple years or whatever. So I'm just I want to come back to this video. I want to come back to some of y'all and say, man, I remember like it took a year, or man, this is the black swan event Dr. B was talking about, or like whoever else was talking about it. Like, oh man, I was ready. Wouldn't you be rather ready for something like that than be surprised? I'd rather be ready personally. Because while everyone is not ready, the opportunists are ready. And that's where the wealth gap is created. We good? Everyone, does that help? Yeah. Yeah, wow, that's something I never looked at, the RSI on a longer time frame. Yeah, Tyler. So take a look at that. If that helped y'all out, take a look at that RSI on the bigger time frame, especially for us like long-term investors or people that are looking a year out, 2 years out, 3 years out. That'll tell you exactly potentially where the market might start to cool off. The higher that RSI gets on a higher time frame, right? Looked like we were due. Yeah, it's crazy how the market sometimes prices in perfectly day-to-day BS. Yeah, exactly, man. It's crazy. It's wild, isn't it? And that's the difference, I think, personally about this season, because a lot of us remember like this feels very similar to 2019, 2020, 2021, when everyone's interested in the stock market, right? But 2022, and I'm not saying some of y'all weren't, but now everyone's like, oh man, I need to learn how to trade. Everyone I talk to now is like business owners. You're in e-commerce. They're like, man, I need to learn how to trade. I need to get into this stuff, man. Like everybody is like, yo, how much they making? I'm over here trying to flip a real estate deal and someone clicked a button and made as much as my commission. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, it's coming into that time again where you have a lot of retail investors that are swarming dollars into the market. So when you have these continuous driving higher, right, a lot of that is retail pushing the market and potentially going to get trapped, while big money in hedge funds are going to trap retail investors chasing the move, because a lot of us have been in for 2, 3, 4 years. We're ready to take profits. Somebody's ready to go on the beach. Okay. Ready for the next bearish year. Ready for another 2022. They'll take all their profits from the past 2, 3 years, right? Just like in Bitcoin, right? Just like in Bitcoin, it'll happen again, right? Took all their profits from 2021 and went to the beach in 2022. Well, who's to say this, taking all their profits, run it all the way up to 120. They ran it all the way up to 120 from 2023, really 2024. If you think about it, right? We were looking at entries, you know, around this golden pocket right here, around 28 to 30,000. So a lot of us, we've been in, I don't care how much money you've been in, 30 to 50,000, right? I didn't personally, I should have, but yeah, 15,000, that was the mark. So you think about that. Someone is now up 30,000 to 100. Come on now. They're ready to go to the beach. They're starting to squeeze a last little bit out. Okay. So we're just halfway there to our bullish run. Okay. We're halfway there. So if you hear these crazy numbers, and I'll start rounding out here about 200,000, right? There are numbers out there. Tom Lee's talking about 200,000 for Bitcoin at the end of the year, but that does not mean that Bitcoin can't pull back to 80 and then go to 200, pull back to 70,000, then go to 200, right? Run to 120, pull back to 80, and then run to 200, right? So it's going to be a lot of volatility this year. Pay attention to any big dips, turn your alerts on, because a lot of us are busy. Can't watch the charts all day. Okay. All right. I'm going back and forth here. So I'll probably do a little update in the Discord on Tuesday, or excuse me, on Monday. So again, if you're still not in there, please let me know. Like, shoot me a DM for a special code. But QQQ, okay, same thing as SPY. Lagging behind SPY a little bit just because we got finance strong. And I'll wrap up on QQQ and IWM. If there's any other tickers that you want to know really quick, now's the time to put in the chat because I just want to go over the indices. And I need to just react because the market's not going to be open tomorrow. So I need to see what's going to happen after hours. All right, QQQ, if it breaks out of, I like above 527 to be confident. 527, if you want to look at the round even number of 525, but there's still a little bit of resistance right here around 525. So I like 527 personally, but above 525, we're probably running back up to 530 very quickly. We get above 530, we're running back up to highs. So, okay. And that may not be until the tech earnings. So I've got two scenarios. We're sitting in the middle of a channel. Okay. We're in the top end of this downward lower high move. So we could pop out of it and run before tech earnings, or we could rapidly pull back before tech earnings and then rip it right back up with tech earnings. You see how QQQ could easily go back to 505, and it also can easily run up to 540. Okay. So got to trade it level to level, keep your stop losses in play. But I do like when there's a lot of gaps, I do like that personally. Because once it gets into that gap fill, right, or once it gets above that level, it will squeeze up into those gaps very quickly. Okay, there's a little bit more of a gap up here to 530. So wider ranges, watch QQQ. We do have a lot of the tech names that are, starting to get a little bit exhausted, as I like to say, right? Like Apple's weak right now. Tesla started to pull back just slightly. All right, so just being a little bit cautious. All right. IWM, break above 227. IWM, pretty easy chart here, in my opinion. It's getting stuck right here at 227. If we see a big move above 227, there's nothing but room back up to like 240, in my opinion. Okay. So IWM, I think it's a great chart personally because it's consolidating here. And if it pulls back even lower, I like one more test of this IWM, which are the small cap companies. Okay. I like one more test of like 220. If it can fill this gap one last time, one more kind of flash crash down, I like that dip personally if it holds that up. But an easier trade on IWM or the small caps would be break above 227 confidently, and there's nothing but room up to like 235. I just take those contracts out a month or a couple of weeks, and you can ride the wave on that. Okay, so easy resistance 1, 2, 3. And then it'll finally break and go higher. Okay. Dow Jones. I don't really personally trade the Dow that much, but I do pay attention to it because there's a lot of big names, obviously, in the Dow with NVIDIA, Apple, Home Depot, a lot of our traditional names in the Dow. If you trade Forex, it'd be US 30. So Dow picking up some steam here. It's kind of broken above this level of 435. So I want to kind of watch it above this 435 level to see if it can retest 450 again, but a lot of gaps below. So another big pullback on the Dow. And that's why I'm a little bit concerned, because if Apple gets even weaker and the Dow gets weaker, Apple's going to be falling even more and the Dow's going to pull back as well. Okay. Apple, I really like Apple back to like 220 personally, but it's not going to go there in a one fell swoop. Okay, you can see Apple's been one of the weaker names in the market right now. And if it breaks this trend line, I can see it coming back to retest right here. And that's what I'm talking about with the charts, is that Apple ran from pretty much 160 to 260, $100. Just think about that on Apple, roughly in under a year, which is fine. So people are taking their profits on Apple. That's fine, right? So it's coming back to retest a big level, major demand here at 220, okay, or excuse me, 200. If it can get back down there again, but there's a lot of buyers sitting right around Apple 215 or so, 220 to 215. So watch 220 to 215. But if Apple somehow will get a flash crash and it pulls back to this 200 again, I like it even better. All right, Tesla. All right, Tesla is its own beast because of Elon. It's just its own beast. I personally think it's trying to get to 500. As long as Tesla is above that previous high right here, that 415, you can try to retest it back to this 488 and then 500. So Tesla personally, I think it's just trying to get to 500 plus. If you got bigger levels, that's fine, right? But I personally just look at level to level. And if it clears those levels, cool, right? But 500 is my target on Tesla if it can still hold above this 515. So just watch Tesla on that 515 level here. You see how it's forming a nice little bull flag to try to retest the high, and a candle would try to come up off of this level and retest it like that. Okay. So if you are a Tesla bull or you do like trading Tesla, be careful. Obviously, it's very volatile, but Tesla trying to retest that level unless it fails back below 415 and then back below 400. Then we're coming lower. See a lot of gaps down here back in the 300s for Tesla. Okay. Google. I'm really not liking this consolidation. I'm very bullish on Google personally. Told the chat a while ago back in Google 150s. Right back in here, 140s, 150s, picking up Google and ran it to 200. Now it's sitting at 200, consolidating. So it's either going one or two things. The earnings brings it back down, fills these gaps, poor earnings, or it pops it up. And this is a rising bull flag wedge. And we go to 205, 210 plus. Amazon. Looks like a nice bull flag, personally. Nice bullish flag you see here that I have. Above 227 on Amazon, I like it. Back up into the 230 range. And then if it breaks above 233, it's going probably to 240 plus. Okay, so a lot of bullish flags, but also a lot of risk on the downside too, depending on just how the market reacts. So that would be somewhat of what Amazon would look like if the bull flag plays out up to that 240 level. If it starts to double top up here and fail back below, we got a lot of gaps back below that could fill at certain points. Maybe it's in September, it could be in March, but these gaps will get filled at certain points. So you will see Amazon back below 200 at some point in the coming years or so. Okay. Meta. Let me jump to Nvidia since everyone wants to know about Nvidia. I do not like how Nvidia's chart is up here personally. It's got to do one or two things. It's got to break back above 143 for me to be confident to take it up to 150. There is a lot of interest on Nvidia calls. Very bullish. Obviously, it's Nvidia into their earnings. So, but I did tell everyone that the longer the higher the company goes, right, the bigger the company falls. So the more and more expectation there is out of Nvidia to keep performing and keep performing and keep performing and keep performing, right, and keep beating numbers. You want me to make another billion in a month or another billion in a quarter or whatever it is, like at some point it's going to pop. Okay. And pop meaning that it just can't meet those expectations. It's like it had a great earnings, but y'all wanted to make another billion, right? Or whatever it is. So it's kind of getting into that, as some people have been talking, that AI bubble, right? Where you keep pushing the limits and pushing the limits and pushing the limits. Well, dang, like if I'm running NVIDIA, give us some time. Like we're trying to get to a point, but y'all want AI this, and you want better chips, and you want more chips. And what about tariffs? And what if we have to raise our costs, and then our supply costs go up, and then this, and then that? Like it's getting to a point where I'm very bullish, but also it's getting to a point very similar to UNH. If you didn't know what happened to UNH, UNH just had earnings, right? And they had a good earnings personally, but they just couldn't match the revenue that they want their stakeholders wanted them to beat. It's like, you wanted us to make another billion. It's like, we're doing well, but we can't match that. So UNH pulled back pretty heavy, right? So this earnings is going to be very, very important for tech. Very, very important coming up at the end of January into February time. Pay attention to earnings season stepping up. All right. Let me check the chat, and I am done. Any other tickers? I was looking at 131, 215s, and 210s on IWM. All I can say is interesting. Yep. Very understanding content. Yeah, I appreciate that, Tyler. I appreciate that, man. That means that doing well. That you understand. If this is your first one and you're understanding, no, they need to stay away from this. Ain't no everyone. There's not much I can't do, and I'm still struggling to figure this out, but we getting there. Yeah. I'm glad, Tyler. I'm glad, man. I'm glad you understand it, and It's making sense from a visual standpoint, and people understand my teaching based off of like, oh, that makes sense. Like it is at all-time highs. If I was in it for 2-3 years, I'd want to go to the beach too. So if I'm on the opposite side of that, I may want to be a little bit more cautious because I'm late to the party, right? Or I can't put in as much as maybe someone else did because it's not on discount yet, right? But yeah, Dennis, I agree. IWM can go either way. It just needs to stay. I personally would rather see IWM back below 220 to really confirm it, because a rejection at 227, if it does get bullish, can just catapult it. So I do like lower on IWM, especially the reason IWM is weak is because the small cap companies need rate cuts, right? They need rate cuts. If you're a small business or a small business in this realm, if you make, less than $1 billion, you make a couple $100 million, and you're trying to innovate and grow, like a lot of these biotech companies and smaller companies that are coming up, they need cheaper dollars to borrow, right? Like if I'm borrowing a loan from a bank and the rates are high, I can't make my profits. So small caps will take a hit if there's no rate cuts expected, right? That's why IWM, for those that didn't know, ran. So if you didn't know about IWM or small cap companies, like that's the reason why, right? That's why they ran so significantly right here. It's because of rate cuts. August rate cuts, September rate cuts, right? Election rate cuts. And now it's like, maybe rate cuts, maybe not, right? So it's pulling back, but this is a very bullish candle, right? So you see that line right there. If it breaks above that line, there's nothing but room back up to like 240. So you got to pay attention how big that weekly bullish candle is, because it's almost an engulfing candle. It's almost taking up all those previous candles right there. So please pay attention to that, Dennis, that there's really no sell signal on IWM yet, unless there's just this gap fill back down, right? There's still higher lows, right? You see that? So if it doesn't want to, if it ticks down, kind of like what it's been doing, it ticks down and doesn't continue, buyers are still present, and it could flip this candle and just shoot right up. Okay. So please pay attention to that. I do like it higher up here personally for more confident, because the more it just doesn't continue down, I'd like to rather see it break this trend line and get back below 220. And then, we know exactly where it's going. Right. But you can take a chance on it if you want. Right. There's still gap to fill for sure. You see here, like it's kind of breaking this trend right here. This could be a little lower high and definitely could fall right here. I don't know about 210s just yet, but I mean, it could into February. I mean, if I look at it, if you're looking to February 21st, I think that's the third week. Typically has a little bit higher interest right there. So yeah, I see that 210s, 128,000 interest. I could definitely see that. That aligns with that pump and dump for February, right? That aligns with that pump and dump for February. So if y'all don't understand this and you're not in our community, right, and you'd like to understand what all these things are, open interest, how we pick contracts for options, if you want to learn about futures, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's very interesting right there. 210s for February. But again, Dennis, as you know, man, I've told you before, you got to hold it. You got to hold it. Set aside $100 and just say, I'm just going to set it and forget it. Put it in a different account. If it goes higher, cool, whatever. Because yeah, that 210 could hit, but it could be a black swan event. It could be out of nowhere, right? We've said this before, that when we see something kind of coming in, right, it's like, hey, just dang, wish you would have got it. Like, just set it and forget it. If you believe in that, that 210 will hit at some point, right? And maybe you can add one cheaper to it. So then you have less than $200 into it. So you put 100, and then maybe it falls down to $50, $60, $70, and you have it till the end of February, right? So pay attention to that. Yeah, trust your gut, man. Trust your analysis. All right, everybody, I'm done. Got to run. Going to eat some dinner, hang out, and I'm probably going to take off tomorrow. And this OBS is acting up a little bit, and we're good. Awesome. Well, until next time, peace, love, and blessings to you. Thank y'all so much. As always, make sure to shoot me a DM on Instagram. If you do want to join Leverage University, I'll send you a special code with a small little percentage off just for you. And if you're still not on our WAP platform and you're inside leverage right now, or you're coming up and you've been in for a while, right? I'll be reaching out to some of y'all that we do have renewals for some of you that have been in for a while. So looking forward to you continuing with us. All right. If you're re-listening to this and you missed some things, that's cool too. If you got questions, right, shoot me a DM or I'll answer in the chat after. I'll always